everybody to Inside the Cage. I am your host, Terrell Campbell.
I am your man Jerome Span, handsomest dude on this show.
Only in your mind. And then, of course, we've got.
The one and only Daryl. Not trolling today.
We'll see. We'll see how long that lasts for. All right. Yes. That's right. All right. So this is not. So I know everybody's probably just like, "What's Daryl doing on this version of ITC? What's he doing on ITC Combat?" Well, guess what? Daryl's joining us today. This ain't sports ball. There's no mace today. Although we had a great time at the end of the year for the 2021 end of the year show. It's 2022, the first episode of Inside the Cage Combat. And ladies and gentlemen, I've got my boys with me. That's right. Because we are family. I've got all my boys with me. All right.
You see what I have to deal with? This is why I need you here, Daryl. Do you see this? I had to deal with this alone for years. Do you see this? This is what I'm saying.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
See, Daryl knows where it is. All right. But for those of you who don't know, this is your home for conversations about pro wrestling and MMA, and we like to throw a little bit of entertainment. And for the next 2 weeks, we still get to talk a little bit about that. Oh, what's that one sport, Jerome? You know it right off the tip of my tongue. What's it?
Football.
All right, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna kick it off like we normally do. We're gonna talk a little MMA. The first thing we're gonna bring up, let's say, since we're a couple weeks behind, we're gonna talk about the last UFC event. It was UFC 270, and it was Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane for the UFC Heavyweight Championship, along with, and I say it amazingly. These two men need to be always in contention for Fight of the Year. Brandon Moreno versus Davison Figueroa. I mean, yeah, that was just an amazing co-main event because I couldn't even tell you who won that fight at the end of it. Jerome, what were your thoughts on the most recent UFC card?
You know what? I was pleasantly surprised with how it went. I wasn't necessarily expecting the main events to both be as quality as they were, but Figueroa, he proved again that he's a really bad man. Him and Moreno, you have to see a number 4 between them, right? Like we've seen 3 very, very close fights. I mean, even in the one that Moreno won by the rear naked choke, if he doesn't get the choke there, that fight could have went the other way easily. We've seen these guys are very closely matched, so it's been an amazing experience there. But I think the most impressive thing on the entire night was seeing the fact that Francis Ngannou didn't need to have a knockout to win, that he literally has progressed his game enough to where he can take you down and control you on the ground. Now, yes, I will openly admit he needs to learn how to strike on the ground because there was plenty of times where he had opportunities, especially when he was inside of control, where he had an opportunity to lay down strikes, but he didn't do it. He was more so trying to maintain the position and make sure that he didn't get reversed. But regardless, put on a very dominant performance. He won in a way that I don't think many of us thought that he could win. So I have to take my hat off to him and you know, be very impressed with him. And also it was just another great night to be right over Daryl.
Yeah, he messed up my whole DraftKings betting pool.
Oh man, yeah, I can agree, the same thing. But the only thing I was kind of mad at him for Moreno was too many feints. He should have just got in there, just give the pressure. There was so many pressure points that he could have got when he snapped the punch to Figueroa. It was. I was getting mad at the fight. If he did that, if he had more pressure, I think he would have won the fight. But the knockdowns really gave it to the other half, pretty much at that point.
I have to definitely agree with you, Daryl. Watching that fight as it was unfolding, I was looking at him just like Moreno's looking good, but Figueroa, he was the one who was getting the knockdowns. He was doing everything he needed to do to be able to walk out of there as the winner. Moreno, he was trying to finish the fight. Both of them were. I say, and that's the big thing about the two of these fighters. They're not out there trying to win on points. They're trying to finish the fight, and they just, like I say, Moreno did it in the second fight, but for the most part, we have seen these two guys have 3 fights, and only one time we've seen an actual finish. I mean, think about it. You have to have a third fight with these two men because of the simple fact. Right now, the record is 1-1-1. 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 draw for both fighters. I mean, it's one of those matches that, hey, Dana White, you know what? These guys need to stop being co-main event. You need to make them the main event of one of the cards. Yes, we know the lighter weight fighters and the lighter weight classes don't necessarily always get the respect that they deserve, but you need to start giving them that respect. You need to put some respect on these men's names like they Birdman, okay? That's what I just got to say about that.
Birdman, daddy.
Oh my gosh. Rubbing your hands without lotion. That's what he does best.
No, but we also got to look at the future though too, because we're looking at the past. Hey, our main man Israel Adesanya is going to be fighting Robert Whittaker on February 12th, and I know that is going to be one of those fights that we're all going to be taking a good look at, because we saw Izzy took out Whittaker in the first fight. Well, let's see what happens in the second fight, because you can see that Whittaker's made some changes to his game plan. And has he figured out the puzzle to Israel Adesanya at the middleweight division? Because Whittaker was one of those guys that we all looked at and said, okay, this guy may be the next kingpin at this weight class. We were wrong, but he's definitely one of those guys that is always going to be at the top of that division because of the fact that he has immense talent. I'm going to ask you guys right now, who do you feel may walk out of February 12th as the UFC middleweight champion?
Oh, this is easy for me. It's Izzy all day. I know Daryl gonna try to tell me different. He gonna try to tell me about how Robert Whittaker then changed it around. He gonna get him this time around. Nah, bro. Unless you can literally physically just manhandle Izzy in the ways that happened to him when he went to light heavyweight, he ain't got no shot. He's too light on his feet, and he's super strong at middleweight. That's like his perfect weight class, right? So is Whittaker gonna have a chance? No, sirree, buddy. I'm gonna say it right now. He gonna knock Robert Whittaker out. He gonna knock that man out, because what's going to happen is all them, like Mike Tyson said, right? Everybody got a plan till you get punched in the face, and when he gets punched in the face and gets reminded how hard that man hits again, it's gonna be all over. He's gonna have to put himself in a bad situation, and Izzy is gonna finish that man. You're gonna see him like this on the canvas.
Night. Say, Daryl, what's your thoughts on it?
It can either go 2 ways. Israel gets his range quick, gets him lead in to a couple feints, get the complete knockdown, and then finish it up. Or Robert actually plays this technical game like he's been doing for the last 3 fights, and like seems like he's losing, but he's actually like changing game plan throughout the fight. I really think this is like a decision fight. I don't think it's going to happen the same way, because Robert Whittaker last time just came in reckless and just freaking was going off emotion and thinking he can do what someone else can't do. He was really going off of that. But now he's like, if he goes off this yawn game plan and think he's going to wrestle the whole fight, nah, it ain't going to work. That man,
but how's he going to be able to strike with him? That's my question for you.
The game plan is not going to probably be striking. It doesn't even seem like he's going to strike with him. I wouldn't strike with Izzy. Would you strike with Izzy? I wouldn't strike with Izzy at all.
I would.
Nah,
I would.
Nah,
Oh,
not that. That's
Here
what
we
you.
go.
That's the same thing. Like, you think Paul Acosta is like, yeah, I'm going to just strike with him. Let me just go strike. I can do it with my power in my hands.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do think that's exactly what Paul Acosta thought. Paul Acosta thought he was going to go in there and knock him out, and he paid the iron price for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think Whittaker's going to take the wrestling approach. That's what I really think. And if anything, if it ends, I'm going to call second round. That's what I'm going to say. If anything,
So
it's going to be second
so
round.
so here's the only thing I have an issue with what you said, Daryl, and that is no one at middleweight can really take Izzy down. We saw Jan do it, but look at someone like Marvin Vittori, who, quite frankly, is a much bigger fighter than Israel Adesanya and is a wrestler naturally. And this man couldn't take Israel Adesanya down. And he's much bigger than Whitaker, much more heralded as a wrestler than Whitaker. So if a guy who has that kind of pedigree couldn't get Izzy down, what chance does Whitaker have? What is Whitaker gonna wait for Izzy to throw a kick, hope it doesn't connect square in his dome, and then try and shoot for the takedown? We all seen Izzy's a lot quicker than most people give him credit for. He could probably throw that kick, and by the time Whitaker's shooting in, next thing you know, Izzy's just hitting him with a knee.
Yeah, but for Vittori though, Vittori was just shooting swings, and knowing he was missing every single time. He never found his range with Izzy, so he had to use the shoot to try to shoot to get him down. He wasn't. He was
Okay.
not.
But what about with a guy like Yoel Romero though? Yoel, we know Yoel has always had an ability to get guys down, and he had a hell of a time trying to get his hands on Izzy and get him down.
And once again, a much bigger fighter.
Yoel does what Yoel does. I'm not even going to use him in any example of mine. Yoel does things that I don't understand why he does. The only time he actually fights is like when he wants to fight. Like name a time that he fought that he put 100% focus on that was important.
Rockhold. That'd be like probably Rockhold and probably Machida. Those would probably be the two that I get. Other than that, I tend to agree with you. I tend like even when he finished Weidman, right? Weidman was actually winning that fight, but he just hit that man with a flying knee and knocked him out.
Hit him with the knee and gashed his head in. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand that.
Because I won't put Yoel in any example because he doesn't 100%. He has the abilities to do the certain things. That's what Yoel was scary for, but he didn't do it when the time was right. It's the same thing like Donald Cerrone. When the big fight happens, he don't show up.
Oh, you mean Mr. Gatekeeper himself?
Oh yes, Mr. Gatekeeper himself.
No, that's Kenny Florian. That's John Fitch. That's all those guys.
Well,
those were the true gatekeepers.
But he's the new one. Somebody had to take the mantle, right? Because those guys retired, so somebody had to take the mantle, and now it's Cerrone.
You know what's funny though? For a long period of time, you know who the real true gatekeeper was? Bisping.
Oh yeah, for a very long time.
Bisping was a absolute gatekeeper. Every time somebody wanted a title fight, they had to go through Bisping. If they got through him, hey, they got knocked back down. If they didn't get through, and then if he somehow managed to win, which was not very often, then he somehow came close to a title shot. But then something would happen, and he'd have to wait, and then he wanted to fight, then he'd lose, and then guess what? If it wasn't for the fact that someone got injured, that Chris Weidman got injured, Michael Bisping would have never got that second shot at Rockhold for the title and then win it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just.
I gotta ask you though, T. What's up with your man's Aljamain Sterling, bro? What's up with your man's, dog?
Wait, hold on. How's he my man's? I'm sorry, you're the one who used to tout about the man all the time, saying, hey, anybody who plays UFC 4 knows what damage I can do with Aljamain Sterling. That's you. That's my impersonation of you.
That's not true. That's not true because
really, because Aljamain Sterling, the bantamweight champion, is let's say he hasn't fought since winning the title. And the person and mind you, anybody who watched that fight, every single person who saw that fight knew Aljamain Sterling was not going to win that fight. And Peter Yan made the mistake of actually not understanding what the hell his corner was saying and kneeing this man. And hey, we all saw that knee. I don't blame Aljamain Sterling for not being able to to compete after that, because that was a pretty sick knee. And if I'd have get caught with a knee like that, I'd have been like, I'd have took the belt. I'd have went to the hospital, take pictures with the sexy nurses. I'd have been like, yeah, I'm the champ, but I got knocked the hell out, but I'm still the champ. And I'd have been making rounds on. I'd have been making rounds on Jimmy Fallon. I'd have went and saw Conan when he still had a show. I'd have been doing all that. But in the back of my mind,
wait. Conan, the
yeah,
barbarian.
Conan O'Brien.
Conan, the barbarian. You mean?
His spell. His name's
Conan. You said Conan. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger putting out swords and shit. Like,
well, I'm putting respect on O'Brien's name. He deserves it. Anyways, but I'm going through all that. But at the same time, in the back of your mind, Aljamain Sterling knows he didn't win that fight. Hey,
the man knows he's the rightful champion. Everything he been saying, he said he the rightful champ.
Yeah, that's what we call concussion treat. That's what we call CTE, because that's the only way he can actually say that he's the rightful champion, is because anybody who saw the fight saw Peter Yan whooping that ass. Anybody who saw how the fight ended knew that Peter Yan got that ass. So I'm sorry. You win the title of disqualification, and mind you, you won. You had the belt around your waist, and you didn't look like, oh, I'm so happy I won. No, you looked despondent. You know you were getting beat. You know you shouldn't have that belt. So why the hell are you walking around telling everybody that you should be the guy? You shouldn't be the guy.
Well, according to Aljamain, he said to a fan that was going at him on Twitter that he won every exchange in that fight. So, I mean, he really believes that he's the champ, dog. Like, for real. Like, Aljamain is like, nah, I'm the champ.
Yeah. Nah, you know what? Aljamain Sterling did win every exchange. The I'm getting hit exchange. I'm getting hit, boom. I'm getting hit, boom. I'm getting hit, boom. He won that one. He won those exchanges. Now, as far as hitting the other person, Peter Yan won that one. And mind you, this is not me knocking Aljamain Sterling as a fighter, but the fact that in the history of the UFC, I believe that is the first time a title has changed hand off of disqualification. You're in uncharted territory. But how can you even remotely say that you won that fight when everybody watching could tell, A, you're gassed, B, Peter Yan looked like he could still go another 4 or 5 rounds after the point Aljamain Sterling was completely gassed out. Like, Peter Yan wasn't even breathing heavy when that fight ended. So please, Aljamain Sterling, if you ever see this, please, hey, at the Real Trey Camp on Twitter, you can holler at me and I will tell you exactly how much you lost, okay? And then if you want to prove how much of a champion you are, fight the guy that deserves that title shot. Fight the interim champion, although he deserves to be an interim champion.
Real champion.
I'm talking about the guy who's not a paper champion. I'm talking about the guy who actually earned the title by beating people. I'm talking about the guy who actually, I don't know, has spoken since that fight, whereas Aljamain Sterling's been quieter than a church mouse on Sunday evening after all the services have been done and the church parking lot has been vacated. Let's say that's who I want to hear from. I want to hear from Peter Yan. Peter Yan knows he needs to fight Aljamain Sterling to legitimize him being champion. But guess what? Aljamain Sterling don't want none. He knows that Peter Yan got in that ass. Shoot. Make my blood pressure rise talking about Aljamain Sterling on putting in his piece.
I just want to say I'm glad that didn't go where I thought it was going to, because I thought he was about to become your new Rashad Evans. No, not Rashad. I'm sorry, Tyron Woodley. I thought he was going to be your new one.
Nah, because you know what the thing is? As much as I dislike Rashad, as much as I dislike Tyron, I actually still respected them as champions. I don't respect Aljamain Sterling as a champion.
Throw him in the trash.
Put him in the trash can.
That man was doing banana slips in the freaking octagon, talking about it was all slippery and shit. I didn't understand that.
He's a paper champion, plain out and simple. That's all Aljamain will be. He ain't gonna because when he actually decides to stop ducking, hiding, running, you know what I'm saying? When he decides to stop doing all that and he actually has to face that man again, oh, it's over with. It's over with.
Oh yeah, Peter Yan's gonna get that ass, and Peter Yan ain't gonna let it go to chance. That man's out to finish him. That man is out to finish him. But let's say we talked MMA. Jerome and Daryl, they got my blood pressure all up. I gotta go see the doctor after this now.
Me? What?
Yes, you.
Nothing.
That was you. Always.
Me?
Always.
What?
I got high blood pressure. It's because, let's say, my doctor asked me why did I get high blood pressure. I said Jerome Span. That's why. But
bullshit.
But with that being said, though, let's go ahead and switch a little bit into entertainment. Guys, come on now. Peacemaker. What do you think?
I haven't seen it yet.
Well,
And this is where we kick Daryl off the program right now. So
I hated Peacemaker and Suicide Squad enough. What's gonna make the difference? How about this? You sell me that. You have to sell Peacemaker. Honestly, you gotta sell Peacemaker. What am I going to get from Peacemaker as a DC product? What am I going to get from it? Disappointment?
okay. No. It's actually been very, very entertaining. And mind you, let's say, as a wrestling fan, it is so hard for me to see John Cena in certain roles. But yeah, exactly. I don't see him in a lot of roles. Anyways, but when it comes to Peacemaker, like say, just the cast he has around him like say they help make that show great. And the intro to the show is by far one of the things that when I saw the intro, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this, but now I'm listening to the intro song while I'm driving around town. Okay, but it's a good story. It's a good story continuation on the Suicide Squad. I say you still have James Gunn at the helm, so you know it has a lot of that continuity going on to it. And I mean, come on now, Robert Patrick. That's enough for me to want to watch a show. Robert Patrick. And for those of you who don't know who Robert Patrick is, if you've ever seen Terminator 2 Judgment Day, he's the bad Terminator in that one. He's the one that's just dot 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 dot. You know,
what model number is he, T?
T1000.
Oh, damn. I was hoping I could get you.
Nice try, bruh. But come on, man. You know me.
Well, I will watch it. I will binge it, and I will get my results. I'm not going to stop.
Say, okay. Let me ask you this. Since we can't go into depth about Peacemaker, what about the Book of Boba Fett?
Look at there. I didn't watch it
either. I have my reasons why I'm not watching that.
What's your reasons? Let's hear this.
Please share them with us. I'm sure the people want to know. Why you are not watching the Book of Boba Fett. Like I say, Peacemaker, okay, I'll give you that. You didn't like the Suicide Squad. But the Book of Boba Fett, come on. Who grew up as a Star Wars fan that did not want to be like, oh, I wish they would have done something else with Boba Fett? And guess what? We get it. We find out. There was all those theories for years about Boba Fett surviving. So please, give me something.
I'm curious.
But just not crabs.
I just feel like
I know this nigga. He ain't got no good reason, T. He just wanted to bullshit. He just wanted to troll somebody. Fuck you. I knew it was something. See?
I don't see the importance of this show resonating for me. Because I didn't ask that question. What happened? What will happen if he's alive or dead or not? I don't have that same lore. Not for Star Wars. Star Wars is like they kind of put a shovel in my my grave at this point with Star Wars. anything. Might as well watch the cartoons at this point.
I don't know how you could say that, bro. I don't understand how you could have such a just distaste for Star Wars at this point. I don't get it. I don't get it, Daryl. Doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. They're giving you hot product after hot product, and you over here trying to be like, I'm done with y'all. I don't get
the strong promotion. The strong promotion of it was just so great. Like the trailers were like crispy and everything else. I'm just like, y'all ran out of ideas. This is what I said. I'd say there's probably better ideas. I'd rather watch a Darth Maul thing than watch some Boba Fett. Tell you the truth right now.
So let me get this right. So you okay with one character coming back and having the show, but not the other one?
That character didn't get enough shine. He only got one shine in one movie, and then after that it was over. Nothing else. We just forget about him.
So you just gonna ignore the whole big long ass story arc they had for him in Clone Wars and the one that they had for him also in Star Wars Rebels. We're just gonna ignore all of that, right? We're just gonna be like, that didn't exist. That's what we're doing.
We're gonna do what they did to Spider-Man. We just gonna ignore it and then bring it back later when we need some more money. That's what it is. That's exactly what we're gonna do.
Look, see, and you know what? See, he can't even say nothing because I'm gonna tell you right now, this a-hole still ain't even seen Spider-Man yet, bro. He over here talking crazy like that, right? You know I don't get caught up in nostalgia, and I thought everything they did in that Spider-Man movie was excellent, right? And he talking shit about it. He ain't even seen it yet.
You know what? I can watch it anytime. It's just I just don't want to right now.
That makes it even worse. That doesn't make it better. You know, first you wanted to tell us, oh, I just ain't had the time. Now it's, oh, I can watch it anytime. Which one is it, Daryl? Which one?
It's both.
we just gonna call you No Time like Dre from the league, okay? You No Time.
Oh god, man! Oh goodness, yes. So CT, that's Daryl for you. That is Daryl. Tell you how the show ain't no good, but he ain't even invested a minute into watching the damn show yet.
See, remember how he said he wasn't trolling today, and I said not yet. There we go. We already got him trolling already. I don't even know how far into the show we are, but we already got him trolling. So we've already just set that flame, lit that bitch, set it. Now the fuse is burning. So I'm just waiting for the real troll explosion. It's gonna be like a troll bridge. It's gonna be like the Hobbit.
Not the Hobbit. Not the Hobbit,
bro. Not the Hobbit. Yikes! Yeah.
All right. So gentlemen, like I say, so we tried talking about TV shows, and that didn't work too well because somebody don't like to watch TV or don't have time to watch TV. Yes, Mr. No Time Daryl has no time for TV. So Jerome, Super Bowl coming up February 13th in what I would call a surprising turn of events. We have the Rams versus the Bengals in Super Bowl 56, and I'm actually kind of happy that we got two quarterbacks that have never been to the Super Bowl making their first Super Bowl appearances. I don't know which team. I can't say I'm rooting for one team or another because, in all honesty, I don't care. I just want to see a good game. That's all I want. I want to see a good game.
I can't be mad at that. For me, there's not really a rooting interest, right? Either team could win. I mean, if we were playing gun to the head, right? You got to choose somebody. I'm gonna choose the Rams just because my boy Smoke, he's a Rams fan, and I know he was really, really salty and pissed off about what happened with the last Super Bowl against Daryl's boys there in the Super Bowl. No, he was very disgusted that his offense could not score any points against them, and he felt that his team should have won. But yeah, so if I had to pick one, it would be the Rams. But honestly, I mean, we talked about this actually on Sports Ball with Mason Darrow here, which is that the Bengals, it feels like they're here despite their head coach, and it feels like the Rams are kind of here because their head coach is almost as good as what people want to hype him to be, right? There may be a little bit of overhype for sure with Sean McVay, but it seems like in the moments that they need, that team seems to excel when they need to. So I have to give him his credit. We're most definitely gonna probably, I'd say if we're gonna get a good game or not, yes, because these are two teams that are pretty fairly matched. And so I'm guessing that we end up seeing what can be looked at as more of a higher scoring game than what we would normally see in a Super Bowl. I think this ends up being more along the lines of like the final score of the Patriots Falcons Super Bowl than it would be something like the Patriots Rams Super Bowl that we saw previously, where it was just a low scoring snoozer. Where I remember myself, I was watching that Super Bowl and being like, golly, bro, this shit's so boring. So yeah, we should end up getting a relatively good game there. But goddamn, that man Joe Burrow is bad. That's a goon right there, 100%, with no doubts in my mind. That's a goon.
Do I even dare ask Daryl what you think? Do I dare? Just tell us. Just tell us. Just tell us. Wait. Are you gonna have any time to watch the Super Bowl? Is that what we're gonna get? No time to watch the Super Bowl.
I have time for the Super Bowl. I'll be going. Depending on what time it is, yeah, I'll be watching it. I want the Bengals to actually win. Tell you the truth, I feel like they're the team that worked their asses off this year. That's how I feel. I feel like the Rams is just like, I don't know. They just got there. They just got lucky. That's how I say it. Say Rams just got there to be lucky. What's wrong?
I mean, I guess I'm just shocked because you're saying the Rams, who historically have been a better team, are the team that don't deserve it. And they're the lucky ones when the Bengals have historically been a dumpster fire and their owner has been a bum owner most of this time.
I support
They're
the
the ones
dumpster
who
fire.
earned it.
I support the dumpster fire.
You just want to see the world burn, Mace. I had enough of this. CT, this is what I'm talking about, man. He come on here, and then he's just like the Joker. I just want to see the world burn.
Come on, man. Show some respect for them Bengals. They need it. They need the ring more.
No, we don't show respect to Ohio, but we don't show respect to Ohio State. I say we don't show respect to the state of Ohio. We don't show respect to Cedar Point because it's in Ohio. The only thing that Ohio has that would even make me want to even go to Ohio ever is the Football Hall of Fame. And then we could just take that building up, put it somewhere a lot better. You know, we could put it in Oklahoma. You know, I'd like Oklahoma to have it a lot more than Ohio.
I'm going to just remind you one more time. We know a few things here if you're born in the state of Illinois. And one of those things that you come out of the womb already knowing is that Ohio as a whole sucks.
It does.
If America needs an enema, that's where it's going. Watch, we're gonna have people from Ohio just bombarding us, being like, "Stop hating on my state." I'm just like, "Hey, LeBron James grew up in the state and he left as soon as he could." So I don't know what y'all's beef with me is.
And I'm saying Dave Chappelle lived there because there's nothing there and people can't bother him. So I mean, can you really be mad at us? I'm sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
John Moxley, Ohio native. He currently, like I say, he moved to Vegas and recently moved back to Cincinnati because he was trying to just like, I want my child to see winter. Okay, Alexa Bliss, Ohio native. She ended up moving to Florida because she had a chance to be in Ohio. Okay, I mean, come on now, you understand that Ohio, we all understand that, okay? And I've never ever shied away from my dislike of Ohio. There was one time I had a layover flight in Ohio. It was for 30 minutes. That was 30 minutes of my life. I really wish I could have got back because I was in Ohio. You could have put me in Juneau, Alaska for those 30 minutes. And I'd have been like, cool, I'm in Alaska. You put me in Ohio. I'm like, man, I can't wait to leave Ohio. Let's say they got that old song, Wild, 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 Would I Ever Leave Ohio? Here's a list of reasons, and it's like 3,000 that you can list off why you would leave Ohio.
Here's why. It sucks.
I couldn't see myself there. I don't even like Ohio.
Nah.
Well,
land and dead zones.
Keep the whole state.
It's the land of dead zones. There you go. But regardless, like I say, let's say Ohio will be represented in the Super Bowl, and I'm hoping California walks away with that Lombardi trophy because, hey, Matthew Stafford spent years toiling away in Detroit, and now since he actually has weapons around him, you know, outside of having Calvin Johnson for as long as he did, now that he has other weapons around him, we're actually seeing what he can do. But we'll see what he can do February 13th for the Super Bowl. In the meantime, you know, sometimes in life, you just have to call people out. And that's why we go ahead and we do this next segment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Span's Shenanigans.
Welcome back to the mind of this madman right here. We always like to have a little bit of fun, bring you a little bit of serious.
And as much as and you're in the world of this madman who still thinks he's the prettiest person on the show, which that is just asinine. But keep going, Jerome.
You see this, baby? You see this? Shit. T.O. here lying to himself. I don't know what he's talking about. But
I don't have to lie to kick it.
You ain't got to lie, Craig. You ain't got to lie. But, of course, we have got some very interesting stories since the last time we were here. So, let's start with one of the hot ones out of the gate. And that is, in the 6 coaches that have been hired by the NFL so far, not one black head coach has been hired yet. In a league that is over 70% black, there is only one black head coach in the league currently. Now, all of the positions have not been filled yet. Very true. There are still, I believe, 4 openings at this moment. But if this doesn't tell you exactly what it is with the NFL at this point, I don't know what will. I don't know what I can show you to get the message through to your head. It's not going to change until the people that are in charge make the active choices to make it change. And a lot of that's going to come to you got to get some of these old racists out. Yes, I said it. There's a bunch of old racists that are owners in the NFL. If this surprises you or shocks you, I just refer to you. How did they do Colin Kaepernick? That's all I'm going to say. But moving forward here, with our man Brian Flores kicking off Black History Month with a really hot fire lawsuit against the NFL for their nonsense that we were just talking about there in story number 1. We have to clown some of these companies that are coming out celebrating Black History Month while doing things that are diametrically opposed to the things that Black people want in this country, such as, you know, making sure our voting rights are secure. There are companies such as Microsoft, Amazon, Verizon, and Google, just to name a few of them, that came out on February 1st celebrating Black History Month and say, oh, yeah, we love it. We want to celebrate all the Black creators, all the Black people, da-da-da. But these are some of the same people who have same companies, that have openly given money to the people in the Senate that stand directly in the way of bills being passed to protect voting rights and to also keep the filibuster around. So to those companies out here giving us your disingenuous message this week, I give you all the clowns of the week. Moving forward here, though, a story was recently put out here that Russia is developing a war suit that looks something like straight out of the movie Free Jack. Now, if you think I'm BSing, the link will be in the story. You will see it there. When I post everything, you'll see it. But yes, Russia is out here legitimately playing 1980s war games in movies. I mean, if you've ever seen the movie Free Jack, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Shout outs to all of you who have sat through that movie just like I have and thought it was absurdly great, just like I did. But yes, so Russia's on it again. And with all that in mind, Putin, stay your ass out of Ukraine, dog. We getting people getting sent over there. Our soldiers getting sent over there because you can't act right. Putin, you need to chill out, bro. Okay? Chill out. Bro, you need to holler at your man's Putin. Okay? You need to holler at him.
My man's. I don't hang out with Jews who ride horses bareback. Oh, I meant shirtless, not bareback. That's a completely different other thing.
So yeah, so Putin, stay your ass out of Ukraine, man. Stay out. It ain't your country. This is not that. It is not pre-1980s. It is not the Soviet Union anymore. Putin, chill out, Vladdy. Chill out. But moving forward here, I want to talk about a story that actually came to my attention by a great content creator. I'll give you his name in 1 second. But essentially, it is the story of showing Sidney Poitier's influence on anime. So what, I'm sure some of you are like, what the hell does Sidney Poitier have to do with anime? Like, what the hell is this dude talking about? Well, what happened is that pre his influence there, our Black characters in anime were drawn in very much the same fashion as the racist cartoons that were presented in America for so long, right? Where they were all the caricatures and all the bad stereotypes in the world that you could present as the Black people, right? Well, when Sidney Poitier saw this, he helped produce an anime where they showed Black people in a much more respectable manner, okay? And from there, he then helped change the standard of how Black people were animated in animes moving forward. No longer were the racist, stereotypical drawings used and presented as those characters of Black people, but it was now the respectful characters that you see when you see Black characters in anime. So I just have to, I know he recently died, and this was something that was brought to my attention, just like I said, by and the guy that brought it up, his name, he's a content creator, focuses mostly on anime and stuff like that. His name is Tony Weaver Jr. He's pretty dope. You should, if you don't follow him on social media, I would say give him a follow. He drops pretty quality content. But yes, just want to tip my hat to Sidney Poitier. I mean, for me, you know, for our parents' generation, I know he had a bigger namesake and a bigger influence on their lives. But for me, he wasn't really any great influence. But seeing stuff like this, it's awesome to see that. So I tip my cap to you posthumously there, Mr. Sidney Poitier. And if you don't like that I'm tipping my hat to him, you can kiss my ass. Moving forward, I just have to wrap this all up into one big bow here. So ever since Aaron Rodgers got exposed for not having the vax, he has had this real big persecution complex going crazy. He has cried and whined by how he's being presented, even though he gets over an hour every week to show himself to the world on Pat McAfee's show. He thinks that all the world is out to get him because Aaron Rodgers was out here giving people a disingenuous message about his vaccination status. Mr. Rodgers, I know you have consistently had a chip on your shoulder for your career, but let me just tell you, ain't nobody persecuting you. You did it to yourself. Stop your whining and crying. Stop your bitching and moaning, saying that you're being misrepresented and all this other stuff, because guess what? You have a very large platform that is one of your friends that doesn't ask you any hard questions every week and allows you to, he lays out for you consistently for you to expunge upon any point that you make. So, Mr. Rogers, all I have to say is stop your whining. Nobody is persecuting you. Drop the defensive act, the persecution complex, and just admit, hey, sorry, guys, I was an asshole for trying to deceive you. I don't think that's too hard. Sorry. It happens. But moving forward here, this week, the Washington football team announced their new name, and it is the Washington Commanders. I personally thought they should have went with like the Washington Red Hogs, but I mean, cool. I just want to point out one very, very funny, and if it's not a coincidence, Daniel Snyder is one of the worst people on the face of this planet. But essentially, when in the 1960s, when there were particular parties that were protesting against integration and protesting against, any of these players of color being brought into the league and brought into certain teams, right? There was a Nazi group that was led by a guy, and he was very, very much so spearheading the whole movement of keep the team white. And his position in that Nazi organization just happened to be commander. So I ain't gonna say Daniel Snyder's a Nazi because that may be going too far, but I just want to say I hope that's just a coincidence, my guy. I hope so. Yes. But my last one here is the person that he was a nominee for the Mitch McConnell Asshole of the Year award at the ITC Awards. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dana White. Now, why am I putting Dana White in here? Well, my purpose in bringing Mr. White up to you is this very, very simple point. So since before the Ngannou fight happened, there's been reports that there's been real issues in negotiations between Ngannou's camp and UFC. They've been saying over and over that Dana White and the UFC have been trying to really, really lowball Francis and not really pay him the money that you should be paying your top fighters. I'm calling Dana White out this week because Dana White came out and said, there's no problem between me and Francis. I don't have any issue with him. I don't know what you guys are even talking about. Dana White, when your own fighter has already said there's an issue and you guys are trying to lowball him, stop trying to play me like I'm stupid, Dana. I have a brain too, Dana. You ain't that slick, bruh. Learn how to lie better if you want somebody to believe you, Dana, because let me tell you something. At this point, all I can say is that you're full of it. Full of it. There's a reason why so many of your big name fighters is like, dog, I'm about to fight this deal out, and then it's deuces. There's a reason why so many guys that have built a career in the UFC want to go fight Jake Paul now. It should never be like that. Dana White, you're such a disgrace to the fight game that you've made Jake Paul a more viable money-making opportunity for your fighters than your own company. So Dana White, get it together.
And plus, does he not realize that everybody noticed that when Francis won that fight, he wasn't the one that put the belt around Francis? Like, did he forget that part? Because I was watching the fight. I legit looked at Debo and I said, Dana didn't put the belt on Francis. Oh, this is worse than we thought.
Oh, didn't you hear? He said, oh, I had to go take care of something in the back. That's why I wasn't there.
On the night of a fight? Yeah, no, that's bullshit. He's always there putting the belt around somebody. Only time, let's say, if he did it for Figueiredo, Why didn't he do it for his heavyweight champion, the man that was helping sell the pay-per-view?
Yeah, according to him, he had something urgent came up in the back and he had to deal with it. But I bet you if that belt would have been going the other way, he would have found a way to be out there and raise that man's hand. So, like I said, Dana White, I told you and what's his name, Bob Arum, a few weeks ago, this is not the movie Django. Start paying your fucking fighters.
The D is silent.
Hey, I know the D's silent, fool, but I have to say it just because it's don't you get it? It's for effect. Don't you get it? Because a dude like Dana White or like Bob Arum, they see it and they're like, the Django. If I just said Django to them, they would be like, who? What movie? You say who made that movie? Who was in it? It's called Django, but you have to say the Django, otherwise they don't know who we talking about. You know what I'm saying? You gotta say it. But as I tell you people each and every week, please stop paying attention to the Kardashians. I know a lot of you guys have. They're going off the air finally, but you're still over here putting money in their pockets, keeping them in the news and stuff all the time. So please, 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 please stop keeping up with the Kardashians. Pay attention to science. Science can help change your life and those lives around you for the better. But that's all I got this week.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Spam Shenanigans. I mean, only Kim. And maybe Courtney. Definitely not Chloe. Anyways, but
oh, no, I might disagree.
Really? Really? I like my women to be less Sasquatch and more,
Wow. That's strong.
Hey, look, WNBA, on sports ball, we be supporting y'all. What he said, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Okay, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Oh, that has nothing to. That has nothing. That's not. That's not.
Sasquatch.
Yeah, because she looks like Sasquatch. Candace Parker's tall as hell, and she doesn't look like a Sasquatch. I'm all about Candace Parker. I'm talking about Khloe Sasquatch Kardashian. Let's say, I'm talking about the one who married Lamar Odom, who married Lamar Odom, and Lamar looked at her in the eyes and said, "Man, you tall." I was just saying, what's up? And ladies and gentlemen, that is Spam Shenanigans for this week. All right.
I got nothing to do with that.
All right. So when it comes down to everything we need to discuss, we got pretty much everything out of the way. But it's time to get to the wrestling portion of the show. That is right. And we would be remiss in not talking about this, okay? Because I know my colleagues on ITC Sports Ball have talked about this. And well, it's time for me to express my opinions, especially, with the whole concept of diversity in all elite wrestling. Now, when it comes to it.
Hold on. Before you start, I just want to say, let's start your statement with, Jay, you was right. Let's just start right there. I just need you to start right there.
So let me go ahead and go start this off like this, okay? When it comes to people talking about, like, when Big Swole said there wasn't enough diversity in AEW, I can't disagree because, like I say, most of your top guys are people who don't look like the men that you see on your screen right now. They don't look like Jerome or Daryl or myself. Let's say they look more like people that, might have tiki torches. But I'm just saying when you look at it, but and mind you, but here's my whole thing. Okay, say Big Swole came out, said what she had to say, and you know what? She had a very valid point. Like, you weren't seeing a lot of people of color being showcased, especially, and when I say people of color, I have to very much explain. I'm talking about people of African American descent, because we've seen a lot of people who are Hispanic get that shine. I mean, we saw Andrade on TV for God knows how many weeks. Let's say we see Santana and Ortiz. I mean, although he looks like he's white as snow, Sammy Guevara, he's someone else who's a person of color, but he's on the Hispanic aspect. I dare anybody, I dare any single person to tell me that, let's say, AEW's diversity is where it needs to be at, because when you look at AEW, I want somebody to list one person before the creation of the TBS title who had held a title in AEW that was an African American. Because there's only one name. There's only one name that fits that bill. Scorpio Sky. And that's because Scorpio Sky was one half of the inaugural AEW Tag Team Champions. Why hasn't Scorpio Sky been TNT champion? Why hasn't Scorpio Sky, like I say, had a legitimate chance to be the AEW World Champion? We don't know these things. And I'm not saying, like I say, AEW's wrong for the way they're doing things, but I'm saying they can do better. They can do a lot better, because you do have a talented roster there. You've got a guy like Powerhouse Hobbs. Have you ever seen Powerhouse Hobbs? The man is huge, okay? The man is massive, and he's quick, and he's fast. Why is he playing second fiddle to Ricky Starks? And don't get me wrong, I don't even know what race Ricky Starks is. When people say he's like The Rock, it's mainly because you can't tell what he really is. Okay, that's why people. But when you look at a guy like Ricky Starks, who's like I say, we know he's not no snow in the wool white, but we also know that he's also, we don't know what he really is. But Powerhouse Hobbs playing second fiddle to him. Okay, you know what? Powerhouse Hobbs still a little green. Ricky Stark's been around for a while. I can understand that. You got Red Velvet, who was being featured pretty prevalent. Then all of a sudden, it's like she dropped off a cliff. It's like she's one of those old Looney Tunes episodes where all of a sudden you just see the person da 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 da, and they're off the cliff, and they realize, oh no, and they just start falling down. That's what you see. I mean, for goodness sakes, and I'm not going to go into Jade Cargill, because that's going to be just too many headaches on my part, because if you were going to put a title on somebody of African-American descent and make it a woman, you could have at least made it Red Velvet. At least somebody who's halfway decent in the ring, not someone that literally, like, every time you see her, let's say she's greener than baby shit. Okay, you don't need that. You don't need that person being your TBS champion. Okay.
I just want to point out that it was
what?
Yeah, that just dawned on you, didn't it?
You said Red Velvet should have had the title. Should get the title. She looks so beatable. She looks like, you know what? Brandy Rose can beat her. That's how it looks. That's how bad it looks.
Brandy Rose, you know what? At least Red Velvet's actually decent in the ring as opposed to Jade Cargill.
I don't care. She has a finisher. She looks strong. I take it.
Jade Cargill.
I take it. She looks strong every single time.
Jade Cargill looks so green, she makes the Grinch jealous. Okay, I don't know what are you talking about.
He looks strong.
Yeah. You know who else looks strong? The Great Khali. Are you gonna say he was a great wrestler?
No, he looks like he can trip on a bundle of sticks and then call it a day. His feet so big. No, I don't know. I disagree with that.
But you do have a plethora of African American talent in AEW that you can do something with. Let's say obviously Scorpio Sky is always going to be at the top of the list. Once his brother comes back, Dante Martin and his brother are going to, as Type Flight, they're going to be, like say, a team I would push to the moon. But Dante Martin has held his own in the last couple months. But once again, he's one of those people. They were doing something with him, and then all of a sudden, like what was the last time we saw Dante Martin on AEW TV? What, when he came out after Jay Lethal's match on Rampage, and Jay freaking Lethal is in All Elite Wrestling.
Jobber. He's 100% jobber in that freaking.
Okay, number one, you're not gonna disrespect Jay Lethal like that, okay?
I'm not. But how they've been doing? If you have not seen what they've been doing with him, he's
I've
looking like a
seen what they've
jobber.
been doing with him, but at the same time, though, hey, the man just had to leave the company that he had put on his back for the last 8 years, and because they closed their doors. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let's say the man has to they have to kind of find a place for him, because it's not like they said we're gonna sign Jay Lethal when his Ring of Honor contract comes up. No, Ring of Honor said, hey, guess what? You're all free. It was Emancipation Day 2.0.
Jay Lethal is better off going to TNA than going to AEW.
Oh, you mean TNA where they made him Black Machismo? You mean TNA where they wouldn't let him get past the X, where they wouldn't let him get past the X division? That TNA?
You mean TNA where they also made him go 79 and 109? I mean that same TNA, Daryl. That one, right? Yeah.
Well, it's Impact now, so times have changed.
It's the same damn thing. TNA, Impact, whatever you want to call it. Wrap it up, it's still the same turd on a blanket.
No, Jerome, he's right. It's Impact now. Times have changed. Now you really can't find anywhere to watch it on TV, because before at least they had Spike TV. Now they don't even they have Access TV. Guess what? Some people, let's say, if you live near the city of Chicago, you can watch Access. If you live outside the city, even by 5 minutes, you are not watching Access TV. So come on, you're gonna say he should go to at least AEW has TNT and TBS. Let's say Impact. Come on, man. Come on.
Okay. Let me regurgitate that statement. He's better off going to WWE when they cut people. You get a better shine.
Oh, you mean you mean the place where they sign you, and and less than a year after they sign you, they release you because they don't see it in you. Like when you release a talent like Taya Valkyrie, who's by far one of the top 10 best female wrestlers out there, and you release her after you have your champion go over on her. Does that make sense? Oh, how about WWE in the sense of, we've got this massive man. He's got star quality written all over him. We gave him a great entrance. He has his girlfriend with him. She sings the song. We're gonna bring him to the main roster and put a mask on him, even though everybody knows what he looks like. Even though he's been on TV for 3 weeks, now we're going to put a mask on him. You mean that company? You mean the company that decided to change one of the best wrestlers, one of the best big men in the history of the business, is the man who was limitless in Keith Lee, and you going to try and call him Bearcat? Now, mind you, the history behind the name Bearcat goes back to the official first ever black heavyweight champion, which is Bearcat Wright. Okay, but the record books will take that away from him because it wasn't a major promotion that he was champion of. It was WWA in California, but he was the world champion there. But you want to make that connection? Fine, but did they ever make that connection? No. So all anybody else knew who doesn't know the history of wrestling is that they gave Keith Lee a name, Bearcat. Really?
So all that being said, though, you willing to be like, Jay, you was right?
Nope.
No, that's what I'm still waiting on. I'm still waiting on that sentence to come out, because I told you this and you was trying to argue me down. I just want to say, can you say, Jay, you was right?
Okay.
Daryl, Jerome was partially okay.
Partially. Partially. Mm-hmm. So the exact issue that you're calling out now is exactly what I said months ago. I'm just saying, your boy was right.
But here's the thing, though, and I know I might get some slack for this statement. The problem I have, though, is now that it's been said, what happens when people are told, oh, you're not keeping enough diversity? What usually happens?
PR attempts. PR.
It's
Good PR.
it's an overcorrection. They do overcorrection for it. Let's say now, mind you, do I think Jade Cargill was slated to become the AEW TBS champion from the jump? Absolutely. Like I looked at that tournament field. That was Jade's tournament. But think about it. But then all of a sudden, if they just like, okay, this Hangman Page thing isn't working, we should put the belt on somebody. Who can we put it on? And if all of a sudden it's like, let's put it on Scorpio Sky. That may seem like a bit of an overcorrection not because Sky isn't talented enough. Scorpio Sky, one of my favorite wrestlers out there, but because if you're all of a sudden start shoving a guy like Scorpio Sky down people's throats, what's going to happen? People are going to resent it. Okay. And we've seen this time and time again over the years. Look at where Roman Reigns was 3 years ago when he was constantly being shoved down everybody's throat. Now look at Roman Reigns since everybody said, be heel, be heel, be heel. Now that he's a heel, he's one of the greatest things ever. But let's say Scorpio Sky is already a heel. He's got Dan Lambert and Ethan Page. And yeah, that diversity thing definitely starts right there, because why is Ethan Page getting TNT title matches and Scorpio Sky not? Scorpio Sky should have been after Ethan Page lost to Cody, they should have been straight to Scorpio Sky versus Cody, or straight to Scorpio Sky versus Sammy Guevara. But we haven't gotten that yet. I'm saying as a whole, the wrestling industry can be better throughout everything. Let's say we've got a black WWE champion. We've got a black Impact Wrestling champion. The last champion in Ring of Honor, regardless if it would have been Jay Lethal or John Gresham, is a black man. Okay? I say GCW. I'm not going to touch that because I don't really watch GCW and I don't want to, see light tubes exploding over people's heads all the time. But let's say, AEW, none of their top males titles are held by people of color. I mean, what they say? We got diversity. We got a dinosaur as one half of the tag team champions. No, that's not the diversity. That's extinction. Okay, that's what I'm calling it. Whew. Okay, I'm taking my breath now.
So after all that, I'm still waiting for that one magic sentence.
Okay, you want to hear the magic sentence? Fine, Jerome. You were right about Brock Lesnar winning the Royal Rumble when we talked. Okay. Let's say.
Hold on. I have to say, hold on. T, I know that, but my man Daryl has made a great point.
Yes.
Daryl, and I would let you take the wheels to explain this, but he's brought up a great point. What the hell is going on with WWE stories right now? Daryl, can you explain any of it?
Trash Central. I do not want to see the same freaking booking for 3-4 weeks straight. First off, I'm already saying this right now. Natalia's a jobber. I don't care if you disagree or agree. Natalia's a freaking jobber at this point.
Hey, you need to say that. You need to say that to Jerome. That was his boo for a long time. That was his boo thing.
I can literally just name every female jobber at this point. It's going to be Natalya. It's going to be.
You said Dana Brooke.
They're depressing me every single time, like thinking about it too. You know what? Sasha's about to be a jobber at this point.
Yo, all right. See, you done went too far now. See,
yeah.
I was going to let you get away with the Natalya. Okay, because she do be out here jobbing for people now. It is bad. Like she be just losing matches for no damn reason. But Sasha Banks, you ain't gonna talk about Sasha like that. No. That's disrespectful around here. We do not allow Sasha Banks slander.
Okay, I take Sasha Banks out. Naomi's a jobber.
Whoa! Why are you trying to slander all black queens around here? What are you doing?
Just be out here being so disrespectful.
I'm sorry, but WWE did not see any faith in them because we're going to keep on seeing Sonya Deville and that travesty that they freaking try to pull in the Royal Rumble, bringing Cameron back, digging up her career back with the Funkadactyl theme. I don't know why they even did that. I was like,
Terrell was having a great time with that. fuck is on the west?
I was like, boy,
Yeah, so-
WWE's trying to find Graves.
yeah. I was hoping somebody would call my mama so she could tell me to stop watching, but
I don't want to see Sonya Deville and freaking Naomi rival for at least 5 months straight. It's stupid. There's no ending to it.
No, WrestleMania will be the ending. We know that. WrestleMania,
You telling me that's a
know,
WrestleMania match that people want to see?
they need time to fill. And look, you forget they're doing 2 nights of WrestleMania again, my guy. They got a lot of time they need to fill. They have to build up storylines that people are going to care about.
and mind you, like I say, watching the Royal Rumble, I watched it with my roommate, my
Especially
good buddy.
Black Queen.
Yep. But I watched Royal Rumble with my buddy Debo, let's say my friend Liz, my roommate Dakota, and then let's say a buddy of mine named Rashad. Rashad had not watched wrestling in many a moon, and like I say, you know what the thing is? The second that, like say, he saw Lita, he got super hyped. You know, not quite as hype as Jerome did the one year we went to Comic-Con, but he got super hyped. Okay, but you're talking about a guy who like hasn't watched wrestling in at least like 10, 15 years. Was at my house watching Royal Rumble, and you know what he said? Like not even 2 days later, hey, WrestleMania, we should do it in my crib. He was unaware that WrestleMania was 2 nights. You say that's the thing, and the thing is yes, you're going to have storylines that lead into WrestleMania. That some of them should have should end at like an elimination chamber, but we know that that's not going to happen with a lot of women because hey, only so many women can compete in Jeddah. Okay, but when you look at it though, a Naomi and Sonya Deville, that should be something that should be like a premier match on a B pay-per-view. But it may make it to WrestleMania because guess what? Number one, you can't do it at Elimination Chamber because they're getting that Saudi money. Number two, you let's say there's no other pay-per-views, and then you have SmackDown. Like they're basically trying to push it off.
Yeah.
They're trying to get that match eventually.
Unless they're getting Fastlane. Is Fastlane going to happen this year?
They're not doing Fastlane.
Oh, okay. Then
the only pay-per-view happening between now and WrestleMania will be not Crown Jewel, but Elimination Chamber in Jeddah, because like I say, that's the only one. And that's in exactly 2 weeks. Like, you understand people are gonna be waking up and being like, man, time for me to turn on Peacock. Start watching the Royal Rumble. I mean, not Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber. See? Yeah, but this is another illustration of why things have been going so weirdly, because guess what? They have too many damn pay-per-views. I'm tired of all these pay-per-views. AEW has it right with 4. AEW has 4 pay-per-views. And then they do special shows on their weekly stuff. I'm tired of trying to remember all these damn pay-per-view names. But when it comes down to it, yes, there are some females in WWE that are absolute jobbers, that are definitely jobbers. But at the same time, Naomi, she's not a jobber though. Yeah, she's done the job for a couple times, but guess what? She's also picked up some wins. She's also had great moments, and she's getting a title shot against Charlotte Flair. Granted, anybody in their right mind knows she's not about to take that. She's not about to, win it, because Charlotte's already booked against Ronda at WrestleMania. But it's one of those, we have to look at it for what it is. WrestleMania is not the show that we grew up with. WrestleMania is not going to be this one night spectacular. I mean, for goodness sakes, look at WrestleMania. What was it like? I can't even say 2 years ago because we were still in COVID time frames, and they did do 2 nights back then. But look at WrestleMania 3 years ago. Look how freaking long those shows were. Like, you're talking 5-6 hours straight of wrestling. That's exhausting, man. I say, look at how much wrestling content people watch during the week. That almost equals a WrestleMania from 3 years ago.
So here's where I can't disagree with T on this, right? Is that one thing me and him talked about for years, right? Which was more people should get the opportunity to have WrestleMania matches, right? Now, the give and take with that would have to be now how WrestleMania is presented. I prefer the one night too, Daryl. Don't get me wrong. Like I think T probably prefers one night too. But in the reality, knowing how many superstars there are, right? Knowing that we want more people to get opportunities to have their match on the grandest stage of them all, you kind of got to accept it being what it is. Now, will I say that some of the matches over the WrestleManias that have been split into 2 nights weren't necessarily up to the standard when the matches actually took place? No, I won't lie to you and tell you that they weren't, but you know, not all of those were up to snuff, and that's okay though. They at least got the opportunity. I think that's more so my greater point with this is more than anything is that these people all got their opportunity to at least be able to shine. They at least got the chance to be able to be on WrestleMania and maybe have a match of impact. Whether they did it or not, that's up to them, of course. But at the end of the day, they at least get the chances. So I agree with you that I missed the one night, but just being pragmatic at this point, I think it has to be 2 nights if we're going to see a world where the storylines are getting built up and then they actually get to have an ending and play out on a grand stage. Because, there's every year before they were doing the 2 nights, you would always hear about matches that are getting axed and changed and replaced because now WWE doesn't care about finishing that storyline at the pay-per-view. Now they decided they want to put something else in its place. So instead of that happening, we're now actually getting to see the fulfillment of a lot of these storylines. So I'll take that. But man, I will say this. I 100% agree with you, Daryl, when you say getting tired of seeing the same matchups over and over. It's part of the reason why I'm so done with Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, over and over and over, it's all going to play out the same way with her. No matter what they show you in the first 2 matches between her and somebody else, it's always going to end up with Charlotte coming out on top. That's just the way that they have it designed right now. Even if she like right now, she could drop the belt, right? But guess what? We all know as a fact. Within about 2 months, she'll have that belt back without a shadow of a doubt.
She's not 7-time champ yet, so we gotta keep on going. That's the goal. That's already played out. She was already supposed to have more titles than her father. So that's the whole goal with Charlotte. But what bugs me right now is how you can bring Goldberg back over and over again, facing for the championship.
That's Terrell's boy.
That man. Boy. If I'm going to use this man's word, that man is washed. Like he's the equivalent right now. You had a good career in WCW. You had that one run with Triple H at that time with Goldberg and Triple H, and then after that, it should have been done. Now we got botches on botches on botches on botches, adding your son into a storyline. It's just Goldberg needs to just stop wrestling. He's beat up. He can't keep up. And this is just going to be another squash match. He does his little three moves of doom and call it a day. That's what I'm calling it. 3 moves of doom. Jackhammer, spear. What else? What's that last move? You tell me right now. I thought his contract was up, and they shocked me. I thought it was Don Lashley.
Aren't you happy your boy Goldberg is back? Aren't you happy?
At least say he's disgracing himself.
Really? You know how I feel about Goldberg.
Hey, you can carry your bias somewhere else. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
I feel.
You want me to tell the truth?
I'll put it to you like this: I'd rather be in the state of Ohio for 5 years than watch Goldberg wrestle 2 more matches.
Okay, that explains a lot. It really does.
Oh no! Wait! I would rather go back in time and induct Coco Beware into the WWE Hall of Fame before I would ever refer to Goldberg as a Hall of Famer.
I one up you. I say Norman Smiley.
Hey, hey, no, hey! Don't you talk bad about Screaming Norman? Don't you act like you wasn't hanging around the playground doing the big wiggle. Plus, hey, at least Norman Smiley had an impact on the business after he was done with his in-ring career by training people at the PC. Goldberg's contribution to the business after he stopped competing in the ring on a regular basis, he had a car show. That's it. You know exactly. What? That wasn't a contribution at all. That was just him doing his own thing. And he came back after many years, and then they let him squash Brock Lesnar, and then they let him beat the Fiend. You know, like I say, the greatest thing the WWE ever did for Goldberg was by letting Braun Strowman beat him at WrestleMania.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm over here just looking at gifs of Norman Smiley do the big wiggle, and it's so great.
You know what? I'd rather see Kevin Nash versus freaking Roman Reigns than see Goldberg.
Yeah, because Nash could at least put on a halfway decent match if given, you know, that is if he doesn't tear his quad when he entering the ring. But you know, let's say tear quad, a bicep muscle, you know, I mean, say as long as he's healthy, he at least do a better job.
Oh no!
I'm sorry. Kevin Nash never concussed himself before a match by ramming his head through a locker.
I mean, that's a fair point. That's a very fair point.
Oh man, flip. I just, you know what? I could tell you right now in wrestling right now. I could tell you what I'm excited about, and it sounds pretty crazy. And we already emphasized that no one watches this freaking TNA. Was Guerrillas of Destiny showing up?
Number one, the God, Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, one of the best tag teams out there. And I always have, I always have a great story about Tama Tonga because Tama Tonga does not realize how famous he is until, like, you know, like say, until he's in a situation and people don't realize it. But like I say, it was a story with Simon Miller. Yes, just right, Jerome. I'm bringing up Simon Miller. I'm not gonna tell that story though. But let's say I was standing there talking to Simon Miller. All of a sudden, Tama Tonga walks up to Simon Miller, just like, "Hey man, let's do this interview." Blah blah. Really nice guy, everything of the sorts. And then Simon Miller turns and looks at me, just like, Tama Tonga just walked up to me like I'm some kind of big deal. What the hell? It's like he's just like, that's the big deal. This man is in the Bullet Club. He's one of the most decorated tag team wrestlers in the world. Everybody wants to see him run solo, but he's busy teaming with his brother and being the God. And the God is supposed to go against the Good Brothers. Mm-hmm. I want to see that match. That's because it's Gallows and Anderson versus Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. It's a Bullet Club brawl. Who doesn't like a good Bullet Club brawl? I like a good Bullet Club brawl. Do you like a good Bullet Club brawl, Jerome? I know Daryl just said he did.
Yeah, I do. Because, you know, their matches mean something, unlike NXT.
Oh, here we go. Nothing right now in NXT means anything to me. Right now. Nothing.
I'm giving you a chance again, T, to just say,
listen here, Jerome.
Right when I told you all the NXT titles meant nothing.
Listen here, Jerome. Okay. When it comes to NXT, you have to look at the champion. Okay, now you got a 33 and a third chance of being right when you look at the champion. But then you look at me and see, since I've been watching NXT since it was actually still a good show, I got a 66 and 2/3 chance of being right. Now you couple that, and then you just take Daryl out the equation because, simply put, like say he don't have a chance. So then now you take what chances he had, and then you add that to mine. I got 100, and I got a 99 and a 1 and 3/8 chance of being right. So therefore, that's how you do it. When it all adds up, the numbers don't lie. I win.
That's cool. Because this must have been one of them 5/8 because your ass was wrong. So again, I ask you, sir, you willing to just say it? Jay, you was right. NXT don't mean shit.
NX 2.0 don't mean shit.
Oh yeah. 2.0. You
He's
just
right.
don't. You just can't admit it, huh? You just can't admit it. That
Hold on,
all that stuff was paper championships. You just couldn't admit it.
Jerome, hold on. For years and years and years. Wait, let me ask you this, Jerome. How many of the takeovers did you watch?
A few of them, yeah.
Okay. Now,
More than not.
Now, when it came to the takeovers, which were you look more excited for? The takeovers or Survivor Series? Or Money in the Bank?
Survivor Series, Money in
Why?
the Bank.
Why?
Because those matches mean something. What happens on NXT, they may be entertaining, but them matches don't mean nothing.
Okay,
it's all
so
a bunch of paper champions and all this stuff. Because then they get on the big show, and what happens, Steve? What happens?
Vince McMahon's old man curmudgeon hands gets on him, and he changes everything great about these people.
Like theme songs songs. You know?
I mean, come on. When Keith Lee debuted, and then all of a sudden his music was gone, but yet everybody else that CFO did music for still had their music. Explain that one to me. Keith Lee was dead on the water when they debuted him because they changed his music. Because I wanted to bask in his glory.
Keith Lee was dead in the water when he came up from NXT because they had his ass in NXT forever and a day. Okay, listen, dog.
Okay, but look at somebody like
y'all wanna,
but look at someone. But look at Mia Yim, Dominic Dijakovic, Shane Thorne. Let's say I don't even know what Dio Madden. Oh, you would know them better as Retribution.
Oh, Retribution. Okay.
The people that they completely changed. Hold on. Retribution is an example of calling up talents and changing them for no good reason.
Let me ask you this though. What did all their NXT accomplishments mean when they got up to the main roster? Not a damn thing, like I have been trying to tell you forever and a day, that you can want to be like, oh no, you see, if you win an NXT.
Oh wait, I got you. No. You're wrong, because we're gonna go back to Kevin Owens when he held the NXT title. We're gonna go back to Cross when he had the NXT title.
Yeah, let's not go back to Cross.
I know. No Cross. Okay, we'll go Neville. We can go Neville before he was Pac. We can go Neville.
Mm-hmm.
We can go Neville. Samoa Joe. Finn Balor.
Like I say a lot. All of those were people who were NXT champion and that were brought up. And let's say you want to say winning the belt in NXT doesn't do anything for you. Oh, there's a couple people that might disagree, especially on the women's side. You know, people like Sasha Banks, Bayley, Paige. Let's say
how long were they all been up for, T? They've been up for like years and years at this point, right?
But when they were in NXT, that's when they got their shine. Did you forget Sasha Banks and Bayley had the Iron Woman match? Did you forget Takeover Brooklyn when they tore the house down?
When how much did all of that matter until Sasha Banks came out with Snoop Dogg at WrestleMania?
Well, actually, that happened. Like I say, Sasha came out with Snoop Dogg like well after that fact, so she was already over by that point.
So my question for you now, she became a real superstar then. She was a known wrestling commodity, and she became a known superstar name just in general after that. That's when she all of a sudden started getting offers for acting roles, and that's where all of a sudden now people started seeing her as somebody that could play in the Mandalorian.
Hold on. Wait, you're talking okay? So you're talking that it took them 6 years to see her as a star after she showed up with Snoop Dogg? Because that's around the time frame. Because don't forget, Sasha's been on the main roster since at least 2014, 2015. Let's say she did the WrestleMania thing was like WrestleMania 31, 32. So you're talking it was that many years after? Because it wasn't a recent thing. It's not like she came out with Snoop Dogg 3 years ago and all of a sudden she's getting all these offers. No, this was a few years ago.
Yeah,
Let's say is Charlotte Flair a big star because she's a cricket spokesperson?
You're making my point for me. She came up from NXT, and it took her how long to become really known to the public? You said it between when she came up to when she got there with Snoop Dogg. That was like 6 years. So how much again did all that NXT shit mean? Please tell me.
Hold on. Wait. Hold on a second.
How much did all of that do for you? How much
hold on. But you want to talk about what NXT do? There's still people on the main roster been there for years that aren't known commodities. So that never went through NXT. So what's your point? What is your point? You're trying to say, hey, let's see here. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Bobby Lashley. Is he a known name outside of WWE?
Yes, nigga was fighting in Strikeforce. What nigga?
Bellator, but hold on.
Excuse me.
Hold on, but if you pick somebody out of the street, show them a picture of Bobby Lashley, they're going to be able to name him.
More than likely, yes. I think you're going to get. I think you're going to get over 60% of the people that you ask would know.
Doubtful.
He'll get more recognized in Impact than he would be in WWE. Because
I'm sorry, bro.
He hold all the titles in that Impact. He get more. He get more credit over there than he get more credit in WWE. Bobby Lashley.
And I'm sorry. You sit here and you keep trying to tell me about these NXT people, right? You just named off those couple of people, right? But isn't there quite a few people that I could name off from NXT that had all this success there and came up to the main roster and did piss all?
Yeah, and you can name off a few football players that sucked on certain teams and then got good and were better on other teams. What's your point? It's all about coaching, right, Jerome? It's all about coaching, knowing the tools you have. Guess what? Vince McMahon and his old ass brain don't understand. Bruce Pritchard and his time lock brain don't understand. And they have gold within those walls, but they don't use it. The only people that you see them putting any effort into is Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, Roman Reigns. Let's say, hey, I want to say Bobby Lashley, but ever since they broke up the damn Hurt business, they just completely pissed that away.
I don't know what they did with that.
So if you want to talk, let's say, but yet you see these people go to different companies. You see a guy like a Matt Cardona who we all knew as Zack Ryder, who was a career mid-carder in WWE, but yet all of a sudden he goes to these other companies. He goes to Impact. He goes to the NWA. He goes to GCW, and he's the star that we knew he could have been. Everybody knew Zack Ryder was a star, but Vince McMahon didn't know that.
Hey,
you talk about a woman.
That's because in that era they was too busy kissing your boy Randy Orton's ass.
Number one, leave Randy's ass alone. Okay. But okay, let's look at a recent one. Okay, Mickie James. Let's say think about it. Mickie James gained a little weight. They did the Piggy James gimmick on her. Let's say Mickie James got released within the last year, and as they were so hard up for women, they called Mickie James to come back. And you know what? They let her use her Impact music. They let her walk out with the Knockouts title, but yet. You mean to tell me that, like, say, they're really putting an emphasis? Chelsea Green is somebody who is 1,000 times better wrestler than half the people they have on that roster right now, and she got released. So please tell me it's not about the coach, because Vince McMahon is the coach. He creates the playbooks. He writes the stories. He's the one who's jacking up. Well, hold on. When the Bears lose and it's bad time management, bad clock management, do we blame the players on the field, or do we blame goddamn the coach?
It's the coach. But those players chose to sign up for that coach knowing exactly what he was.
Not if the coach inherited him. Not if they were on the team when the coach came in, when the coach was hired. He didn't inherit those players. He got them by default. Vince McMahon.
You can only really say that about like the last year of like how he's treated NXT people. Otherwise, you can't really say that.
I can say that for the last 2-3 years. He wanted to make Neville, now known as the Bastard Pack, into Mighty Mouse. Into a Mighty Mouse type character.
Again, them players chose that coach, knowing damn, hey, you say he may not have been the coach at the time, but he was still the owner of the team, right? Where he could become the coach at any moment, right? So they chose that coach and owner and was like, I'm gonna ride with this, baby. Even though I know this dude has a history of making horrible decisions with people's careers.
But yet, look at the way that some of the people who represent the black and gold brand of NXT have been treated, though. Think about it. Tommaso Ciampa has been in NXT forever. And you know why? Because he knows the second that Vince McMahon, like I say, calls him up, he's going to get thrown away. Johnny Gargano was there for years. You know why he left? Because Vince McMahon threw him away. Kyle O'Reilly, who was killing it, who had great matches with Finn Balor and Adam Cole, was one of those guys who everybody said, that's going to be the next NXT champion, when Vince McMahon basically ripped NXT from Triple H. Where's Kyle O'Reilly now? Oh, he's in All Elite Wrestling with his old tag team partner, Bobby Fish, because guess what? They didn't show Kyle the love that he deserved. And yet, now he's getting some love. Now he's getting some shine. So please, tell me that it was those people's faults and not the fault of the people above them. Because guess what? You can say all you want. Well, they signed up for it. They signed up. No, they went to NXT to get ready. To go to the main roster. They didn't know Vince McMahon was going to be such an old curmudgeon that he was going to change every single thing that was to like about them.
They ain't know. Vince McMahon, the master of a million bad ideas. They didn't know he was going to try and present them with bad ideas.
No, Vince Russo was the master of the bad idea.
Hold on. I know Russo had horrible ideas too, but McMahon was the motherfucker that empowered him and told him that a lot of those ideas were cool and he was rolling with them. So please, let's not sit here and just shit on Vince Russo. Vince McMahon is the master of a million bad ideas too.
I'm not talking about Vince Russo.
Who booked The Undertaker and fucking Brock Lesnar? Who booked that team?
That was Vince.
Who was that?
Vince.
Okay. So do I need to keep going? Do I have to start listing off more matches? Or does that bring the point enough to you to say, wait a minute, that's right. This fucking does consistently mess stuff up. Why would you trust him? This is the same guy that thought him and Stone Cold Steve Austin teaming up would be a good idea.
I mean,
but they didn't know though, T. They didn't know he was gonna fuck shit up though, right? Come on, baby. That's what he does. He makes money in spite of CM Punk's at the realest shit ever in that pipe bomb. He is a millionaire that should be a billionaire, and it's because of himself.
And he reconciles himself with
glad-handing, nonsensical yes man.
Douchebag yes man like John Laurinaitis, who is back there. And mind you, and let's look at it like this. Sometimes you just got to abandon the ship, just like Jeff Hardy did, because Jeff Hardy ran through a crowd out of an arena, and they released him, and everybody thought it was a drug problem. But guess what? All his tests came back negative. He wasn't under the influence. He was just trying to get freedom. He was like the dude in Amistad. Give us free. That's what he was doing. He wanted his freedom. That man wanted his freedom, and he knew the only way to do it was to do something dramatic. Well, guess what? They gave him his freedom, and they tried to get him to come back.
Nope. I wouldn't come back.
I wouldn't either. Now when I could go to AEW and be with my brother, Not when I could do something more creatively satisfying than just going on TV and losing matches to people just to get them over. I'm not
Being a
saying
job
Austin
on
Theory.
purpose.
Yeah, I'm not saying Austin Theory's the drizzling shits, but at the same time, hey, you want to get a new guy over? Okay, you put him in there with a legend like Jeff Hardy. But at the same time, Jeff Hardy ain't all end all be all. You got other guys on that roster. I mean, come on now. They need to get their heads out of their fifth point of contact.
But I say to you again, plain out and simple, they knew who Vince McMahon was. Stop. And this is all I'm saying is that I don't disagree with you on the fact that, hey, yes, Vince holds his responsibility in this. 100%. You're dead on with that, right? You are 100% right. But we have to not sit here and just be like, oh, they don't have no responsibilities. No, they do. They chose that path knowing exactly what he was. Yes, at the time that some of these people signed, their only true option at that time was TNA, right? I understand that. It was basically TNA, Ring of Honor, or go to Japan. Those were your other options, okay? But they had other options. We seen guys like Kenny Omega. What did he do? Instead of bringing his ass to WWE, he stayed his happy ass in Japan for all that time until he got a company that was like, oh, okay, you guys aren't going to just shit on me like Vince McMahon would. So there was other avenues. I understand that not necessarily Japan and all that stuff works for everybody, but let's not sit here and try and act like they didn't have other options. They did.
Let's say because AJ Styles, after his trip to Japan, he wasn't coming back to Impact Wrestling. That's just a well-known fact because they treated him too bogus. They treated him way too bogus. And I wouldn't be surprised if Samoa Joe went back to Impact Wrestling. Let's say because it was a money thing. It was a money thing with Joe. It was a money thing with AJ. But the disrespect that they got on their way out, that's where the problem insists. But let's say that's another topic for another day, for another show. But before we go, gentlemen, drop your socials.
You know, you can find me everywhere at JSpan the Man. You're going to see the prettiest face on ITC Combat, baby. Either that or the ITC logo.
And that's what makes it so pretty. It's the ITC logo. All right, Daryl, drop it.
Low Elo Janitor, Twitch, Twitch and YouTube. Alvarez Effect on Twitter and Instagram.
All right, and you can find me at The Real Trey Camp on Twitter and at tcampbell_ITC on the Instagram. That's right, I said the Instagram. And please remember to follow the Inside the Cage Facebook page, and as well as the Instagram page as well. Let's say we're going to be updating some more content coming up here in the near future. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen,
all y'all motherfuckers out there that's listening, make sure you go and rate us, review us, give us 5 stars, or I'm think you a hating ass bitch.
And subscribe. Say, but
don't be a hater.
Remember, there ain't no hateration or holleration up in this dancery, okay? All right. But
mama.
I'm gonna get bro this clay. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching, for listening, however you're choosing to consume us. I am your host, Terrell Pop Campbell.
I am your man, Jerome Span.
Daryl, local troll.
Daryl, the local troll. I like it.
And thank you, everybody. For Daryl, keep on trolling. And everybody else, thanks once again for being locked inside the cage.